Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining our first cohort webinar for the Skills-Based Volunteerism Training Academy. We're so excited to have everybody together and to talk a little bit about the program, to meet everybody, and to get a little bit more information about how we move forward. So I'm Rebecca Vierhoff-Kiss. I'm the Outreach and Education Officer at Serve Ohio, and I've had the pleasure of speaking with most of you. If I haven't spoken to you, I will very soon on one of our consulting support calls. But I just wanted to say how excited I am, not just for the upcoming cohort of all of you going through this training academy, but also the level and types of organizations that are included in this year's training academy are just phenomenal. So we are so excited to work with all of you. You all have really dynamic organizations. You all have really strong volunteer engagement, and we are really excited to share this model with you and work with you over the next 12 months to start a skills-based volunteering project and finish a skills-based volunteering project, but also working with you to incorporate this model into your work on an ongoing basis. So again, thank you for being part of this pre-work, and we're excited to get going. So as you know, Serve Ohio is the organization that is sponsoring the Skills-Based Volunteerism Training Academy. And let me just give a little bit of background about this initiative. 2020 is our second year that we have done the Training Academy. So you'll hear me talk about Cohort 2. That just means that you are the second group of nonprofits to go through this process. We are still working with Cohort 1. We had 10 organizations in Cohort 1, and we are working with those folks as they are continuing to implement and finish up their skills-based volunteer projects. But you guys are our second group, which I think gives you all a lot of really great advantages. We worked out some of the kinks, I think, from our first year. We learned an awful lot during the first year. We had an awful lot of success, but we really worked hard to think about how we will build on that success and better support all of you guys who are in the second year of this program. So we're really excited to have refined a lot of our work and have a really great program for you guys. If you don't know about Serve Ohio, let me just give a brief overview. Serve Ohio is Ohio's Commission on Service and Volunteerism. We work with nonprofits, community organizations, and government organizations across the state, and we help them to better empower their communities to mobilize volunteers and make community change. We do that in a variety of ways. The primary way that we do that is through the AmeriCorps program, which is a national service program that is administered through our office. And we currently have about 25 AmeriCorps programs with 900 AmeriCorps members serving across the state. Those members will give about 1.2 million hours of service in their local communities over the next year. And they earn close to $3 million in education awards. So that's a huge thing of what we do. And also, before we move on, so we will have interaction, but if you can, when you're not talking, just put your phone on mute. That way we'll limit some of the background noise. Thank you. I should have started with the housekeeping. So AmeriCorps, but we also do a lot of volunteer engagement work, and we help to support volunteer administrators across the state to better engage volunteers in their organizations. And the Skills-Based Volunteerism Training Academy is just one way that we do that. We also offer grants and awards and a conference every year to support volunteer administrators throughout the state. So that's just a little bit about us. Let me provide a couple more pieces of housekeeping information before I introduce our partners in this work, Common Impact. So the first one I already said, just go ahead and put your phones on mute. And again, we do want this to be interactive, and there will be a portion where we all share together. So, so you will talk, but just put your phones on mute if you're not talking, please. We are recording the call today, and I will send out that recording as well. So if for some reason someone in your organization was not able to make this call, or you want to revisit some of the information, then I will send out a recording for this after the call today. And then I want everybody to feel very empowered to speak up, but if you want to just kind of type some notes as we're putting information out there, then please feel free to use the chat box. We'll be looking at that throughout the webinar, and we'll answer questions via that way as well. So I am going to introduce our partners in this work, Common Impact. Some of you have had the chance to talk with our Common Impact partners, mostly Margie Bland, but they are a huge resource to us. Common Impact is a thought leader around skills-based volunteerism across the country, and we are really happy to partner with them for the second year on this project and initiative. So I'm going to turn it over to Margie, and she can give a little bit of information about Common Impact.
Great, thanks so much, Rebecca. This is Margie Bland. I'm a senior consultant with Common Impact. I'll tell you a little bit about the organization and then have my team introduce themselves. But also just want to echo Rebecca's excitement for us to be launching this work with you all, and to be bringing the model and concept of skills-based volunteering to Ohio. So Common Impact, we're a nonprofit ourselves, and we help to develop, design, and implement skills-based volunteering programming on behalf, in partnership with companies. Some of our clients include Fidelity, JPMC, Charles Schwab, State Street, Amazon, Salesforce, Marriott, Reebok, to name a few. And so we work with companies large and small to understand what their goals and assets are related to skills-based volunteering. Most of our corporate partners have some kind of existing employee engagement or corporate social responsibility programming, and look to add skills-based volunteering as a layer to that. And so we work with companies, again, to really understand what their goals and assets are, and to design a program that helps to meet their internal goals, such as talent development, increasing employee engagement, or aligning with corporate giving priorities. And we have to develop both the framework and then actually support the execution of that skills-based volunteering. And so we work, a large part of our execution, or really kind of the bread and butter of our work is connecting directly with nonprofits like yourselves to understand what their goals and challenges are, and how those goals or challenges could be structured into a skills-based volunteering engagement that would meet the skills and assets of our corporate partners. And so we execute we execute a few hundred engagements a year across a variety of service models, and I'll talk about what some of those models look like. So skills-based volunteering is really kind of our niche. It's what we do, and again, just really excited to be able to bring some of that expertise and passion for this work to Ohio-based nonprofits. That's a bit about Common Impact. Before we jump into personal introductions, does anybody have any questions? I do want to make sure that folks feel pretty clear about who's leading this work and this exciting partnership with Serve Ohio and Common Impact. All right, great. Well, I'll dive right in. Again, I know that many of you have had the chance to work or connect with myself or another member of the Common Impact team. My name, of course, is Margie Bland. I'm a senior consultant with the organization, and I've been with the organization for a little over going on 4 years now, excuse me. Common Impact is based in New York, but I actually live and work from Columbus, Ohio. So this is just kind of personally very exciting for me to have work that is so strongly focused in my home state. But Common Impact works all over the country. I have a couple different parts of my role. I oversee the majority of our training, so partnerships just like this, where we're providing some kind of training to nonprofits or convening organizations on how to engage in skills-based volunteering. And then I also serve as a corporate account manager for several of our partnerships, and then support a lot of our sourcing and project scoping work, which we'll talk about. And I'm joined by, oh, and I'm getting just a little bit of, I'm getting a little bit of background noise. So if you're not speaking up or have a question, if you could mute yourself, that'd be great. I am joined by Christina and Lauren from the Common Impact team, and they're going to, I'll have them introduce themselves now. Christina, why don't you go first, and then we'll have Lauren jump in.
This is Christina Harris. I'm an associate consultant with Common Impact, and I am based in our Brooklyn, New York office, and I've been here for about 5 months now. So my main work as an associate consultant is really focused on supporting some of our corporate clients, mainly JP Morgan. And in this work, I match their employees based on a variety of skill sets to our nonprofit projects. And these projects can be in different functional areas such as human resources, strategy, marketing, business development, and then I go on to manage those project engagements. So for this training academy specifically, I'll be supporting Lauren, Margie, and Rebecca, as well as a few of you in your organizations to help you successfully implement a skills-based volunteering project after the boot camp. And I really look forward to working with you all. So I will go ahead and pass to Lauren.
Great, thanks, Christina. I'm Lauren Savage. I'm a consultant at Common Impact. I've been with Common Impact. This is my second year. And in the last year, I've spent the large majority of my time supporting Fidelity, who is one of our corporate clients, in implementing skills-based volunteering. And that covers everything from scoping a skills-based volunteering opportunity throughout the implementation and completion of those opportunities. I'm excited to work with Serve Ohio, stationed out of Boston, but I will be talking to several of you over the next couple of weeks, and we'll see you at the boot camp in Ohio.
Great, thank you so much, Christina and Lauren. As you guys can see, we've compiled a great team to support you all in this exciting work. As Lauren shared, she'll be on site with me at the boot camp at the end of March, and then Christina will be supporting from afar and really throughout the entire program year. And so you have probably been contacted by either myself or Lauren and Christina to scope through your project and just hold those consulting support calls. And we'll talk about what those objectives are here shortly. I'm going to turn it over to Rebecca for now, and then we'll go from there.
Great, thanks, Margie. So our objectives for the remainder of this call really will be to first and foremost meet all of you. I want all of you to be able to introduce yourselves and have you all hear a little bit about your organization as well as your potential project, the project that you're thinking of, which of course we'll work with you individually to refine. One of the goals that we want to have for this year is for this to be a cohort. So for you all to get to know each other, to share with each other, to share best practices, to share challenges and potential solutions. So our goal is for a lot of you all to be able to work together through the program and us to support you in that. So today is kind of the first part of really building a cohort among our 12 organizations who are part of this training academy. Then we'll give a program overview of the Training Academy and what all of the components are. We'll talk about the specific skills-based volunteerism model that really is unique to Common Impact, and that we're really excited to be able to share with you all to do your project and then incorporate into your work. We'll talk about Capacity Commons, which is one of the tools you will use to kind of define your project and organize your project. We'll talk about another resource, which is our toolkit, and so we'll show you that and then do some next steps after that. So at this point, I would love for everyone to introduce yourself. I gave a kind of a little script almost in the email that I sent you, but really what you were looking for is your name, your organization, like a sentence or two about what your organization does, and then just a sentence or two about the potential project that you're thinking about doing for the skills-based volunteerism program. And so I know there's a few people from each organization, maybe both people can introduce themselves via their names, and then one person can talk about the organization and the potential project. So let's just go down the list. So starting with CPO, then Project Rebuild, and Harmony Project, and we'll just kind of go in order the way that it is on the slide. So I know I've got Bridget and Nicole from CPO. So would you mind kicking us off with some introductions?
Sure. Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Hi, this is Nicole, and I'm the Childhood Strategy Coordinator from CPO. Bridget, do you want to introduce?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Okay. All right. This is Bridget Elliott. I'm the grants manager at CPO Impact.
And Community Properties of Ohio, we're based in Columbus, Ohio, and we're a property management company, and we have roughly about 1,000 project-based subsidized units spread across 6 urban neighborhoods here in Columbus. And we actually have a couple of different projects that we're still noodling on in regards to the skill-based volunteer. The first one is related to IT. We're in the midst of integrating 3 different platforms, and the goal of this project would be to really empower our operational and programmatic decisions through the data analyst. And the second project would be more for recruiting and retention. So that's the other one that we're contemplating. Staffing is obviously, it's a critical challenge for us in order to be a provider for impactful resident services. And the goal for this particular project would be to strengthen our staffing capacity in regards to recruiting and retaining staff. So those are the ones that we're still deciding on, and we're going to meet in the next couple of weeks to really narrow down the focus and pick one.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Let's go
Thank you.
to Project Rebuild.
Hello, this is Scott Minnie from Project Rebuild. Can you guys hear me?
Great.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if I pushed the code in right. Joanna James, our executive director, she's at a training today, so she's not able to join us. I am the fiscal manager of Project Rebuild, and we're looking at we are a youth build program. We work with 16 to 24-year-olds, get their high school diploma, and get them ready for the workforce. And our program we're looking for is we're trying to grow our organization, so we're not just as known as for a youth build program, and we're looking to gain a structure, tighten up all our policies, have that all in order for us to grow. And we're also looking for awareness and more engagement in the community.
Great, thanks, Scott. And if you could, as you're introducing yourself too, tell us where you are in the state. So, Scott, you guys are in Dayton, right?
No, we're in Canton, Ohio.
Canton, sorry.
That's all right.
Great, thanks. How about Harmony Project? Courtney, if you are talking, we cannot hear you. we'll come back to Harmony Project. I know Courtney is on the line.
Can you
so
hear
we'll
us
come
now?
back. Oh, yes.
Oh, you can hear us. Great.
Okay. We're not hearing you, or at least I'm not hearing you right now, Courtney.
Thank
you. Courtney, I'm going to come back to you guys here in just a minute. Let's go to source point. Jill, are you on the line?
I am seeing that Jill posted in the chat window. And I'll go ahead and I'll just read that if that's okay. Jill Smith is the volunteer recruiter, and Karen Pillion is the nutrition program administrator from SourcePoint, and they're in Delaware, Ohio, which is just north of Columbus. They don't have a mic, unfortunately. SourcePoint is a senior services agency. They are primarily looking to recruit skilled assistants with ingredient listing for their 200 plus menu items for the Meals on Wheels programming. So thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah, great, Jill. And we'll definitely keep an eye on the chat box. And if you have questions or input, please feel free to use that. I know the folks from Easter Seals were not able to be on the webinar today, so we're going to Easter Seals, they're a longstanding organization, over 100 years old, that provides support for individuals with disabilities in Central and Southeast Ohio. And so they have a variety of projects that they're considering for their skills-based volunteering around marketing and communication. So let's go to access.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm Sarah Curtis, and I am the volunteer coordinator at Access. I think Karen is on the call as well. We are a homeless shelter for women and children in the Akron, Ohio area. And our project that we're planning on focusing on has to do with staff retention, specifically in our central station support, which is kind of the first face that everybody sees as they come through, dealing with guests and residents and volunteers and just kind of everybody that walks through our building. And over the past several months, we've had a lot of retention issues. We've kind of turned over probably at least twice. And so we're just really looking to get a handle on that, find out where we can improve so that we can get some people on board who stay with us.
Great, thanks, Sarah. And then Karen, do you want to introduce yourself as well? Okay, that's fine. All right, let's go to Horizon Education Center.
Hi, this is Nicole Spears. I'm Director of Community Services at the Horizon Education Center. We provide foreign after-school programs and education.
Nicole, we're having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if you can get closer to the mic or something. Nicole, are you there? Okay. Sorry, guys, we're having some audio issues. Nicole, I can come back to you as well, unless you're able to talk. Okay, I'll come back to Nicole. How about Ohio Hospice?
Hi, I'm Amy Levant. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
And I'm Maureen Swartz.
And we're from Ohio Hospice. It's an affiliation of nonprofit hospices that serve about 40 counties in Ohio of terminally ill patients. We're looking to focus on our volunteer department, and our areas of focus are recruitment, increasing programming, and standardization.
Great, thanks so much. And this is our only statewide program, so this potentially can have impact across the state, correct?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. How about hugs? I saw Alfred on. Oh, no.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hello?
Thanks, Alfred.
Good. My name is Alfred Hall. I'm the co-founder of Hamilton Urban Garden Systems. We have a 2.3 acre farm in Hamilton, Ohio. And we also have plots that residents of the city use to grow their own food. We have two projects that we're currently working on. One is to strengthen the organizational structure of Hugs itself. And then the second one is we are looking to maximize the harvest that we get out of that 2.3 acre farm that we grow in here in Hamilton, Ohio.
Thank you, Alfred. All right, let's move on to YWCA.
Hey everyone, my name is Naomi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. So I'm Naomi Marino. I'm the volunteer and donations manager with YWCA Columbus. Jessica could not be here today. She's our director of engagement, but she'll be working with me throughout this training. Our mission, which is on our logo, is to eliminate racism and empower women. And we really do this by focusing on providing dignity, specifically within the homeless population in Columbus. So we have a family center where we house up to 65 families that are experiencing homelessness, and that's where the majority of our volunteer opportunities happen. We're still working through what we want out of this training academy and what we want our project to be. However, I think we're going to focus on improving our overall volunteer experience and really enhancing the recruitment and retention of our volunteers.
Great, thanks, Naomi. And that's why we have our coaching support calls. So we'll work with you to kind of narrow down what that specifically looks like. So thank you.
Thanks.
So how about United Way of Hancock County?
Hello there. I'm Angela Dabosky. I am the CEO of United Way of Hancock County, and I believe our new volunteer coordinator is also on the line today, so I'll introduce Sarah as well. Thank you for being here. Our goal within our area of Northwest Ohio, we are in the Findlay area, which is about an hour south of Toledo. Our goal is to measurably improve lives in Hancock County. We are a hub for a lot of the nonprofits in our community. So whereas United Way typically runs a lot of campaigns and we're a fundraising organization, we do believe in give, advocate, volunteer. And how do we create advocates in our community? By creating a dynamic volunteer center. So we are in the initial steps of trying to do that. And this project will be helping us to gather information and scope of where to begin and how. So thank you for your help today.
Okay, and I am Sarah Miley. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I work with Angela at the United Way of Hancock County, although I just accepted the position as volunteer coordinator, so this is all brand new to me. I'm excited to learn more, and it sounds very interesting, so thank you.
Great, thanks Angela and Sarah, and welcome Sarah to some pre-work of your position, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, great. How about Hattie Larlam? Carla on?
Hi, yes, this is Carla. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. My name is Carla Stokes. I'm the Volunteer Services Manager for Franklin County Recreation, which is under Hattie Larlam. What we do is work with individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and my other volunteer partner, Lori Moner, is on, and she'll also introduce herself. Our area, specifically what we're looking to do is to create marketing and communication piece that we can take to different corporate entities to get them to utilize us as a go-to for volunteerism.
Lori,
Hello.
do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, I'm Lori Molnar. I'm the volunteer coordinator for Hattie Larlam in the Akron area. So Carla's in Columbus and I'm in the Akron area. And what I'm wanting to get out of this program is some way to utilize our Razor's Edge system to better track volunteers, as well as how they connect to the corporations in our tracking system, so we can utilize them both long term and then to create these more valuable volunteer experiences.
Great, thank you. Let's go back to Harmony Project and see if some of the audio has gotten worked out. Courtney, are you able to talk on the audio?
Can you hear us? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. My name is Courtney Keys. I'm the Director of Volunteer and Community Engagement.
And I'm Shelby Franklin, and I am the company manager.
And Harmony Project, we're in Columbus. We're an arts organization, and we use music and arts education and community service to bridge social divides, connect neighborhoods, and create a more inclusive community. We have 8 programs across our organization, and our largest program has 2 very big performances a year, one at Nationwide and one in the spring, typically at the Columbus Commons. And we process all of our tickets in-house. So we're hoping to create a ticketing system that is unique to our organization and can address all of the challenges that we face with the other platforms that we've been using.
Great, thanks guys. And Harmony Project was just featured on the Kelly Clarkson show.
We were.
Super cool. Yeah, so congratulations on that, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so Nicole, did your audio get back? Nicole from Horizon Education Center? And if not, that's totally fine. I'm going to read it. Looks like she wrote in the chat box. So let me just read what Nicole said. So, hi, I'm Nicole Belmore-Pierce, Director of Community Services at Horizon Education Centers. They provide early care and education, as well as out-of-school time programming for children 18 months to 12 years. And they're in Cuyahoga and Lorain counties, which is Cleveland area. We also lead 2 community collaboratives, one focused on kindergarten readiness and one on middle schoolers. And they'll be working with the United Way of Lorain County to focus on recruitment and retention. Great. Thank you so much, Nicole. And thank you to everybody who was able to share about your organization and your project. Hopefully you were able to see some similarities between organizations and missions, as well as some similarities between potential projects. So again, our goal is to have this as a cohort and for folks to learn from each other as we go through this process. So thank you for introducing yourself. And I'm just going to go over the program goals for the Training Academy. So our goal in this work over the next 12 months is for you to develop and execute one skills-based volunteering project that will increase the capacity of your organization. So included in the execution would be to scope a project, which is something that we're working with all of you over the next month to do on our coaching support calls, to recruit the volunteers who will be engaged in your project and to meet the need that you have through the scoping process, and then to manage that engagement with those volunteers to make sure that they have everything they need to be successful in helping you with your project. And again, we will go over all of the steps on how to make that a seamless process with you guys. Also, our goals is for you to learn the process, to learn how to scope a project, Sometimes it can be kind of a hard process to really go through. And as you all have your calls with us, you'll see that sometimes we'll ask a lot of probing questions to get to a point where you have a clear project, a clear deliverable, a clear timeline, so that when you do go through to the recruitment process, that you will have something that is easy for corporate or other skills-based volunteers to plug into. So that's our goal, for you to learn the process and the best practices, so that you will be able to institutionalize skills-based volunteerism in your organization. So that once you're done with this project that we're working with you over the next 12 months, that you'll be able to use this as another tool to engage volunteers within your organization. So those are the major goals of our program. So any questions before we move on program activities? Okay, great. Feel free to utilize the chat box as well. Margie, yep, go ahead and keep us going.
All right, great. So I'll jump in here. We just kind of covered the goals and just wanted to clarify and share what this year will look like. So right now we're in the middle of our consulting support calls. Throughout that process, and kind of leading up to boot camp, we will do we'll work to really refine our project. So with the goal of having an scoping and then executing one project as part of this program. We'll then have our boot camp from March 27th or 26th and 27th in Columbus, where we'll really do a deep dive into what is skills-based volunteering and the best practices. You'll then be responsible for actually executing a project along with our support and guidance. We've had several folks ask the question, and while there's certainly variance in what all of the projects look like, depending on the scope or scale, the functional area, and the type of expertise that is needed. But what we typically see is a project would have about 2 to 4 volunteers. We've also seen, particularly in cohort 1, that there are projects where it's only 1 volunteer, and that's absolutely fine as well. For a variety of reasons, it's great to have multiple volunteers, but if your project is only engages 1 volunteer, that's also fine. Typically, skills-based volunteers would look to dedicate about 2 to 3 hours per week over the course of about 6 to 12 weeks. So when we think about scoping your project and narrowing into something that feels defined and concrete, this is kind of the scope that we're shooting for. We'll talk about a variety of different models, but this is our typical sweet spot. After your project is completed, you'll go through a reflection and evaluation process. Okay, how did it go? What was achieved? What will we do different next time? And then you'll look to replicate and utilize skills-based volunteering as an ongoing resource in your organization. We are very excited to see the types of projects that you execute as part of this cohort. But our overall goal is that your organizations continue to harness the power of pro bono volunteers to strengthen and expand your infrastructure. And so that will be a lot of what we spend our time during the boot camp on, is the how. We'll dive into the how to do that. So the first part of our journey has been the consulting support calls. I promise we're not doing this just to torture you. That's a part of the element of it, but no, I tease. But the goal of these consulting support calls, which you'll also hear us use terms like project sourcing and scoping, is to support you in narrowing an organizational goal or challenge into a discrete project. We'll ask you questions and go through a consultative process so that we can understand what the root cause or need is. Why haven't you been able to address this challenge or fix this problem at your organization? What's missing? What skills, expertise, and capacity is needed? And how can we structure that into a clear project scope with a defined goal or deliverable? When we talk about a goal or deliverable, we think about What's the end product? What would you like to see a volunteer team hand over to you? And we'll give lots of examples of what deliverables or products could be. And we want you to experience what we call the sourcing or the consulting process. Right now, a member of the Common Impact team is leading you through that. But eventually, as you look to institutionalize SBV, you'll need to lead that process at your organizations on your own. And so we will do a lot of scoping your project and then reflecting back on that process. So what were the goals of project scoping? What were the key steps? How can we replicate this process? When we think about the process or the model that we'll go through, it's one of the things, many things I love about my work at Common Impact, but one of the things I like to talk about or share is the way that we talk about our work is the way that we execute our work, is the way that we train folks on our work. And so we'll take you through the model that we use to successfully engage hundreds of volunteers each year in skills-based volunteering projects. And so you'll learn that process and you'll be able to follow that model. We'll talk about and reflect on the key stages. You all actually already went through a bit of a readiness assessment as part of completing your application. And if we were concerned that you were not ready to engage in SBV, then you would not have been welcomed into the cohort. So we'll do a deeper dive at boot camp about organizational readiness, but you've already, by virtue of answering your application questions and going through that process, we've already kind of checked in with you on that. Project scoping, we've talked a lot about what that looks like. The end goal of project scoping is to have a discrete project description that you can utilize to recruit skilled volunteers and match them according to their skills and expertise that you need to meet your deliverable or goal. We'll talk about how you then manage your project. So what are some common challenges that might come up? What are the key stages and roles and responsibility? We'll then talk about evaluating your project, talking through the types of evaluation, qualitative, quantitative, and then what you'll want to reflect on as you look back and evaluate the impact and the experience of your project. And then, of course, the all-important thing of then how do you look ahead and look to replicate this? So just a very quick, very high-level overview of what is skills-based volunteering. And actually, before I dive into that, I do want to pause and see if there are any questions from folks. All right, great. We spent a lot of time on the introductions, which is great. That's really a very valuable part of it. So I apologize if it feels like we're going a bit quick through this part, but again, boot camp will provide you ample opportunity to do a really deep dive into all this content. So skills-based volunteering is simply at its core just lending professional expertise to nonprofits. When we think about professional expertise or skills, we're typically thinking about functional area skills where there is a translation or a commonality between the corporate world and the nonprofit world. So these, marketing, HR, operations, technology, those are all things that exist both in the corporate world and in the nonprofit world. What we see a big difference of, and we'll talk a lot about what this looks like and means for our sector. We think about really the capacity building gap. In the corporate world, we have, and I heard somebody label it this way recently, and it really resonated with me. Corporate employees typically have the benefit of specialization. And so the scope of their role within their company is typically very targeted. And so marketing is always an interesting one to look at. And so I actually took these descriptions from actual job descriptions. And so in the corporate world, you might see somebody who is specifically focused on managing just the digital content for a company. In the nonprofit world, likely the person that's overseeing marketing probably wears a development and a fundraising hat as well. So took this directly from a job description where the same kind of marketing role is responsible for all annual giving, special events and development activities, and marketing for the entire organization. And so as you can see, that person is probably not going to be able to invest a significant amount of skills and capacity into just social media for their organization, even though it's a really vital part of their work. So kind of following this example of marketing, when we think about the ways that somebody from the corporate world or kind of corporate teams or skilled teams can help us within the marketing world, we can think about social media strategy, developing new collateral, creating a logo via graphic design, developing a newsletter timeline or a template. So there's lots of different ways that these skills can translate into discrete projects for us. Some of the ways that we engage skilled volunteers at Common Impact, and we've seen with our cohort 1 as well, days of service are becoming an increasingly popular mode of engagement for companies and for nonprofits. And so that typically looks like nonprofits that have a very predefined challenge, connecting with a group of skilled volunteers for a single day to really chat through something. So an example of that type of project might be, we have a lot of marketing materials and concepts, but we haven't really narrowed in on what our key messaging is. Can we spend a few hours together really digging into this content and then help us prioritize 2 to 3 key messages that we should be leading with? And then we can develop a stronger marketing strategy around those. We also see coaching. So somebody providing more of a strategic or advisory role as a nonprofit is implementing a change or a strategy. So if a nonprofit is launching a service enterprise or launching kind of a fee-for-service program, maybe somebody with business expertise, just providing some oversight or strategy, checking in with the executive director for an hour each week, providing just some of that high level guidance. Or team consulting is really the more traditional. So this is where we see the groups of 2 to 3 volunteers dedicating those 2 to 3 hours a week over the course of 6 to 12 weeks. I'm going to pause there and see if there are just any questions on the general model of skills-based volunteering, the steps we'll go through, or really just kind of the concept of skills-based volunteering. I just want to make sure that it feels very clear to folks. And if folks have any questions or feedback, love to give space for that right now. All right, great. And I'll reiterate, we are going to do a deep dive into all of this. And I'm excited to share some additional material with you all. We've got some really great tools. So you'll have the opportunity to review lots of material and get a really deep, solid grounding in skills-based volunteering, in addition to obviously all of the learning that'll take place at boot camp. Over the summer, Common Impact launched an amazing online resource called Capacity Commons. We call this your one-stop shop for everything related to skills-based volunteering. And you can see very clearly here that it follows the model that I just shared with you, down to even the shape of it. And so we're going to utilize or kind of surface this as a resource throughout our journey together through this cohort, but really encourage you all to visit capacitycommons.org. And Rebecca, if you don't mind maybe just putting that web address in the window, that would be great. And I wanted to point out this really is again, it's a very comprehensive project management tool for you all to be able to learn about skills-based volunteering, see an amazing amount of examples, and actually scope a project. So I did just a couple screenshots here. Again, encourage you all to just dive in and play with it. But one of the things that I think will be very helpful to all of us as we get started with our project scoping and consulting is to take a look at some of the sample projects. And you'll be able to see that within the scoping section of the website. So there's a section that says view sample projects, and you'll see that they're divided by functional area. So I encourage you, again, take a look at, peruse as many as you want particularly for those of us who have a particular focus or functional area in mind. Take a look at those projects. And as you can see here, once you click on one of the functional areas, it generates a comprehensive list of lots of different types of projects. We are going to work very closely with you to scope something that is unique to your organization. But it is really helpful to just get a grounding and a framing in the types of projects that we typically see are successful. And you'll get a sense of even the terminology that we will utilize as we go through this process together. So when we talk about things like assessment and plan, or document a set of recommendations, or develop a strategy. So those are the types of projects that we scope for a variety of reasons. One, we know that it helps to structure and categorize your needs into a way that is clear for you to understand and execute on. And it also translates very well to the corporate sector. And so using those terms and framework for structuring a project support you, not just in being clear about your own needs and goals, but in recruiting and matching to skilled volunteers. So, so just your action steps for kind of your immediate action steps. Go ahead and visit the website, view some of the sample projects, just get inspired, spend time navigating the website. We do encourage you all to go ahead and create a login so that you can start to experience the site. Further along in our as we get closer to boot camp, we will actually walk you all through and have each of you complete a project scope in Capacity Commons. The work that you do scoping your project through your consulting support calls will really help you to have to be ready for that. So nothing for you to kind of worry about having to complete in the short term, but I wanted to just show you all one of the really neat functions of the site is that it also, once you go through scoping your project, which will be responding to a series of questions on the website, it will actually generate a project scope or description for you. So you see here, it outlines your project need, your project description, and then the key phases. So then right there, you have an actual project scope or description. We all will have completed those coming into boot camp. You then will work with your Common Impact consultant and Serve Ohio to continue to refine that and utilize that actual language and document to recruit and match to skilled volunteers. You'll see I've circled kind of towards the top. Once you complete a project scope, the system generates a web address that you can share. So that's also something that you could share internally your organization and share with us as well. We're going to provide written instructions and then also more guidance on this in webinar 2. Just wanted to get it on your radar, both as something that you feel prepared for and as a great resource to learn more about skills-based volunteering. An additional resource that we're very excited about, which was part of our partnership in year 1 or cohort 1, Common Impact and Serve Ohio developed an incredibly comprehensive nonprofit skills-based volunteering toolkit. It follows the same model that you'll see on Capacity Commons, the same model that we'll be training and supporting you on as part of this program, but provides a significant amount of content, background, explanation, as well as links to templates and worksheets. A lot of the key learnings, best practices, and resources that you see in the toolkit will be utilized by us at the upcoming boot camp as well. So again, an additional opportunity for you to get exposure to skills-based volunteering, and also something that we hope that you avail yourself and heavily utilize after boot camp and as you're going through the process of executing your programming as well. So these are tools that we're excited for you all to use, but are also available in an open source format on the Serve Ohio website. So we're just so excited to this just is a recognition of the investment that Serve Ohio has made into skills-based volunteering, which we're just really so excited both to provide you all with this really facilitated, comprehensive opportunity, but also to just spread the word about the power of pro bono and the immense opportunity that exists within the state of Ohio for more nonprofits to embrace this model and for more companies to engage their employees in this way. All right, so before we dive into next steps, which I'll turn it over to Rebecca to manage, I do want to pause and see if we have any questions. All right, Rebecca, if you want to take us through in the last couple of minutes, we've got just a couple of next steps, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Thank you, Margie. Thank you for that really great overview of skills-based volunteerism and about the program too. One thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the call is that this program is made possible through a grant that Serve Ohio received through the Corporation for National and Community Service called the Volunteer Generation Fund. And so Serve Ohio received this award. It's a 3-year grant. And so our goal is to have at least 3 years of cohorts go through this program and to have some really exciting results at the end of the 3 years and hopefully continue on with this program applying for another 3-year grant. So this is made possible through the Volunteer Generation Fund from the Corporation for National Community Service. So next steps, all of you will complete one of the consulting support calls if you haven't already. Some organizations will have multiple calls. It just kind of depends. So we will continue that work through pretty much the month of February and perhaps even beyond that. So if you haven't had your call already, we're really looking forward to talking with you and diving in to refine your project scope and help to provide a little bit of clarity around the type of project that you want to do. As Margie gave a really great overview about Capacity Commons, would love for you to take a look and create a login for that page. And again, we will be using that website heavily as we help you to organize your project. So if you go in there and play around and make a login, that would be great. And the next webinar, kind of as more of our pre-work prior to boot camp, is March 16th. So hopefully you all have that on your calendar. And I think I sent the call details, but I will send a reminder as we get closer and send those as well again. But Monday, March 16th, we will have our second webinar and we'll go a little bit deeper into Capacity Commons and talk about what we need to do to prepare for boot camp, which is, of course, at the end of March, March 26th and 27th. It will be at Nationwide Hotel and Conference Center here in Columbus. If you have not already let me know if you need lodging, please email me and let me know. We are able to provide lodging to anybody who needs it the night before, so it'd be Thursday night and Wednesday night and Thursday night. So the 25th and 26th, we can secure hotel rooms. And then, of course, checkout would be on that Friday that we would have the boot camp. So if you haven't already, please let me know if you need lodging. I'll need to make those room reservations ASAP. And I will let you know once those are confirmed so that you have all of the details you need to check in for that.
And then, Rebecca, we, in terms of, we provide lunch and snacks and coffee and things like that throughout the day as well, right?
Correct. So for boot camp, everything will be provided to you except dinners. So we'll have breakfast, we'll have lunch, we'll have snacks. They have awesome snacks and really good food. So we're all going to eat well over those 2 days. So you don't need to worry about any of that. But you'll be on your own for dinner. However, there are lots of really great options in the area that we'll be in, and we encourage you all to kind of network in the evening as well. But more to come on that. And then our last slide here is about boot camp. Yeah, so we'll give a comprehensive overview, and we'll give you plenty of time to work on your project, work with your other staff member who is working on the project from your organization to make sure that when you leave boot camp, that you're ready to roll, that you're ready to go, and you can start your recruitment process. Most of the pre-work will have been done. That is our goal in this process. So we'll give you lots of time to do that during boot camp, and we'll also have some really great special guests throughout as well. So that's all we have in terms of next steps. I know it's right at 2 o'clock, which is great, but I do want to ask if there's any last minute questions. We'd be happy to answer them. Okay, great. Well, we are always available, so if questions do come up or concerns do come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're looking forward to connecting with all of you on the calls throughout the rest of the month, and for sure we will talk to all of you on March 16th at the next webinar. So thank you so much for your time, and have a great weekend, and happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Thanks, Rebecca. This has been great.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.